sing another song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 871. Hello, this is Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Today it's the return of the much-loved feature, Do You Know Dat?, where we look at the latest intriguing developments in the world of music streaming on the internet. Plus, we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley, and put us into warp drive, Mr. Sulu.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
NASA may be closer to that famed Star Trek super speed. I often watch Hulu.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We'll find out more about that on this show. So as you know, I do this podcast for free, and I'm nice enough to give bands and singers publicity, but I run into idiots occasionally who don't exactly operate professionally. They want me to pay for their albums when I'm going to give them free publicity. Arg!
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Meanwhile, I hate my insurance and my doctor because they are liars.
Mike's
So I'm having a great week.
Daily
A great week.
Podcast.
Time to take a little trip to Daytona Beach and see my mom. I'll tell her about this podcast and she'll say, "Oh, that's nice." Subtext, I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, look who just walked in.
Hello, Michael Matthews. This is Madame Rootabega, and I want to someday meet your mother. She sounds very interesting.
Yeah, she is. She's great. I'm going to bring her a little present. A present from Petra, who was on the show, the German tourist that I spoke to. She brought for my mom from Germany, which I'm going to take from California to Florida, a can of Blutwurst, which is some very tasty German meat thing they put in a can that I think most Americans would find kind of disgusting. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the back of your bed.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Bison, we're doing your segment, Do You Know Dat today?
Wow, I'm really happy that you're doing that. Do you know that?
I guess I do. And do you know that this is fascinating, that there is a warp drive possible thing that they're going to be doing. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity is indeed very fascinating and breathtaking, as it allows you to be in many places, even infinite, in a strand of space-time fabric at the same time if you are traveling at an ultra-fast rate of 300,000 meters per second, which also is the speed of light. If you are traveling at such enormous rates, time will virtually freeze, and this will allow you to be in many places at the same time, since the strand of space-time fabric may represent a line, and geometry taught us that a line is composed of infinite numbers of points. I know, shocking news indeed. This from the Daily Times Gazette.
Mike, there, I love gazettes. They're the beautiful animals in the wild. There.
That's a gazelle.
What? I'm confused. What? I don't know what you're talking about there. Chris Christie, 2016.
He's not running, remember?
Mike, I feel really like I am a chapped liver there because the brewmaster is in love with Shelley Schuhart and he's written her poetry and stuff.
Yeah, he apparently, when he writes her poetry, he passes out because he gets these flashes of light, of brilliance, and then he, falls on the ground. And then he comes to, and he's got this poetry that he gives to his Shelley Schuhart. It's great. And Madame Rootabega, you spent a lot of time on a boat, apparently.
That's true, Michael Matthews. I spoke about this on a recent show. Ooh.
And Benita hates tourists.
I don't know why. Tourists are great. I am a tourist of the world, Michael Matthews.
That's a beautiful way of looking at it, isn't it, everybody? We're all tourists of the world. I'm going to be a tourist of Daytona Beach coming up this week. I'm so excited. I'm going to see my mom. It's been a long time.
Mike, you should tell her hi for us.
Do you know that? Did you not hear the part earlier where I said she can't, this is too much for her to grasp. Maybe even more than interstellar travel. But the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, tested a form of space-time flight that could bring people to the moon in just a few hours at speeds that are near the vicinity of the speed of light. So a journey to Mars will only take about 70 days to accomplish. According to users that are logged in on NASA Spaceflight.com's forum, the space agency has just created an electromagnetic drive, or EM drive, that employs advanced technology that seemed impossible to whip up with our present-day knowledge about physics. Some of the people that actively participated in the forum discussion about space warp travel had claimed to be space engineers from NASA, and this has been verified true and correct. The technology that runs the EM drive has been previously demonstrated, but the outcomes have been disputed by some individuals. The device functions by virtue of propelling objects through space by utilizing magnets to generate electromagnetic microwaves, then sent through a conical cavity in a manner that electrical energy is transformed directly into thrust. Well, we'll see if the dailytimesgazette.com is just smoking some weird herb of some sort, or if this is actually true. But whatever, this, and they reference the Discovery Channel, Tech Times, and CNET. And this article is right above an article about sexy celebs with hideous spouses, which, so you know it must be true. But anyway, NASA does seem to be working on it, and that's good, because it'd be nice to have that sometime in our lifetimes, wouldn't it? Be able to travel as fast as a TV show from the 60s was telling us we could do. That'd be cool.
Michael Matthew, I travel at warp speed wherever I go. Goodbye.
Wow, she just disappeared in a puff of smoke. Amazing.
I'm back again. I forgot my keys.
And there she goes again. All right, well, what do you think about all this? You can email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email and your calm and not so comments. You can comment there on our Facebook page, facebook.com/mikesdailypodcast, and you can also follow us there and like the page there. You can also follow us on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @MikeTalks. You can also comment there. And you can also email me if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to sponsor the show. Email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. And you can listen to the show at a bunch of places, including iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, Player FM, and Ameristream. And comment on the show and rate the show in iTunes. More people find out about us because people tend to use iTunes the most for downloading podcasts. And if you rate the show, more people find out about us and we don't languish in obscurity. I'm also on the radio on an AM station in Connecticut weekday mornings, which can also be heard on the internet. It's called Wolverine Radio. I'm on there 6 to 10 Eastern Time. And you can hear that show, the link to that, at mikesdailypodcast.com. Also a link to where to listen to my show that I'm on weekends on a country radio station called Country Crossroads Radio. In fact, I'm on there right now. I'm on 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time, and a link to that at mikesdailypodcast.com. Also, links to where to find us on Instagram, Yelp, and Tumblr. And you can help support us by going to the Amazon link that we have at mikesdailypodcast.com. Click on that link and buy whatever it is you were going to buy. Let's say you're going to buy a bunch of sunscreen, for example, since summer's coming. You can go there. Go through mikesdailypodcast.com first to buy that, and we get a little bit of it, of the proceeds. But it doesn't change the way you shop. You can also see the blog, the Daily Podcast picture, and all my past interviews there. But right now, the very fascinating feature where we look at things that you didn't know about. And so we call it Do You Know Dat? Some interesting news stories that have to do with the world of music streaming.
It's Bison Bentley's Do You Know Dat?
Hey, this is Bison Bentley, and Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know that? Do you know that? Do you know that?
Ooh, I like that. That song is called Radio, and it's by the group The Royal Concept. I need to have them on the show. Well, Recently, Zoe Keating found herself on the wrong end of a phone call with one of the world's most powerful companies. A representative from the Google-owned video platform YouTube foisted a raw deal upon Keating, the terms of which appeared unfair and inflexible. Wow, that's pretty harsh, she said. Yeah, it's harsh, and trust me, it's really difficult for me to have this conversation, the caller responded to her. It was difficult for Keating, too. According to a transcript of the conversation provided by Keating, and this according to the East Bay Express and their eastbayexpress.com, YouTube told the successful independent cellist and songwriter that unless she opted in to YouTube's new streaming service, Music Key, by signing a proposed contract without stipulation, her ability to earn ad revenue from the 9,696 videos featuring her songs and their roughly 250,000 monthly views would be effectively revoked. Her music would appear on Music Key anyway, and furthermore, YouTube would have to block her from uploading new material from her current account. Keating's blog post about the exchange went viral. It garnered media attention from outlets such as The Guardian and Digital Music News. Some journalists then received demands for headline retractions from YouTube. To many industry observers and advocates for musicians in the digital realm, the dramatic exchange provided a rare look into YouTube's aggressive negotiating tactics, media meddling, and a public effort to discredit Keating's objections. I should mention that this show can be heard on YouTube right now, which is kind of ironic. YouTube, which has roughly 1 billion monthly users, has long been used as a streaming service. Most songs are uploaded to the site. Announced last year, Music Key is YouTube's plan to compete with market's dominant forces, Pandora, Spotify, and Apple's new player in the streaming game Beats. And we have just said goodbye to Groove Shark, which also would allow you to stream music, but now they're gone, and they had to pay a lot of money to the record labels because they sued the crap out of them. To launch the service, which is currently in the beta testing phase, YouTube must strike deals directly with sound copyright owners. Arrangements with the major labels materialized last year, but one prominent holdout was the indie label trade group Impala. In June of last year, YouTube's head of content and business operations told the Financial Times that the company planned to begin blocking videos in a matter of days. Within a month, however, YouTube was backflipping and backtracking, according to a source quoted by the Financial Times. YouTube now appears to be wrangling independent artists who manage their own material. Keating's objections echo the Impala dispute, but she lacks the collective bargaining entity's clout. To compensate, she exhibited a level of transparency that's rare in an industry in which non-disclosure agreements reign. Under Keating's current contract with YouTube, she is a music partner, which means she has access to YouTube's Content ID system, an interface for monitoring her own uploads, as well as third-party videos that feature her music. In a testament to Google's content trawling faculties, Content ID is constantly scanning YouTube for descriptions, metadata, or audio file details for which Keating holds copyrights. Through Content ID, Keating then has an option to mute audio that matches her music, block the entire video from being viewed, monetize the video by running ads against it, and track the video's viewership statistics. As part of Keating's current agreement with YouTube, she cannot disclose how much she makes from the service, but Keating revealed in her blog post that as the sound recording copyright owner and featured artist, about 250,000 monthly spins on Pandora earns her roughly about $324. For the same amount of plays on YouTube, she wrote, the compensation is far less. One of the journalists who reported on Keating's plight was Paul Resnikoff at digitalmusicnews.com. He republished her blog post under the headline, YouTube is removing any artist that refuses to license its subscription service. A representative from YouTube contacted him and demanded a retraction of the headline, calling it patently false. In a subsequent email exchange, which Resnikoff posted online, the representative cited a basic terms of service policy as proof that any user in agreement can upload content, not contesting other terms dictated to Keating. When reached by email, Reznikov said that he didn't plan to heed the retraction demand. He said, quote, YouTube is exhibiting some pretty ugly treatment toward artists, and understandably, they don't want it reported accurately. Following the exchange, Keating posted the transcript of her phone exchange with YouTube's representative. Digital Music News' headline remains, as does a similar one published by Forbes, whose author was also contacted by YouTube. Hey, maybe we should play some Zoe Keating. That's her right there. And she's actually playing on a song. That's Kurt Smith of Tears for Fears, who appeared on my show that I enjoy so much, Psych, several times, in a mocking his own reputation sort of style. In one episode, he was shot and left for dead. In another one, he was a zombie. But speaking of YouTube, YouTube became so ubiquitous so quickly that it's hard to remember a time when it didn't exist. But that actually wasn't all that long ago. Yes, before April of 2005. 10 years ago, YouTube was a name known by only those who had created and those who were part of the then private video sharing site. It didn't stay that way for long, according to digitaltrends.com. In honor of its 10-year anniversary, YouTube is celebrating for nearly a month, 26 days to be exact. Why 26? Because the company is sharing a video for every letter of the alphabet from A to Z. Quote, YouTube is a portrait of our global culture, seen through the lenses and perspectives of people around the world. It is a portrait built by a creative community of bold and fearless individuals, reads the blog post announcing the celebration. Built by comedians, gamers, activists, artists, performers, teachers, and pranksters. Built with cats and rainbows and blenders and ninjas and unicorns. It was built on the silly. It was built on the profound. It was built by you. While the first content shared on YouTube was a relatively uninteresting video of an elephant, the company has come a long way since that inauspicious start. Since its launch, YouTube has consistently been supporting higher quality videos and adding feature after feature. Last month alone, YouTube brought 2 new features to the site. Early in March, the company added support for 360-degree videos. And later in the month, there was the first 4K video content at 60 frames per second on the site. The sheer amount of content on the site is staggering. 300 hours of video are uploaded to the site every minute. If that's the case, then their legal department must be the size of what the Scientologists have. Kurt Smith and Zoe Keating, all is love. I know, you know that I'm not telling the truth. As we go outside a cafe anyway, here at the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The picture is a conversation I was having with the disgruntled fiddle player, and here he is.
Hey, Mike, tell you what.
What?
I think y'all were talking about Daytona Beach.
Yeah, I was going to go see my mom. That's what I'm doing this this Wednesday. Sometime this week I'm going to go.
Well, Mike, that's great. When y'all come back, you better bring me one of them hats.
What kind of hats?
Well, you know, you'll find out about it in the cartoon if y'all go and look at it right now.
What a great tease. You're teasing that.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's what, and I hear that the new Marvel movie, the new Avengers movie, teases something else that's coming up. They're all about teasing those Marvel movies.
Yeah, I don't know. No idea. I just know there's a Scarlett Johansson in it, and she beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, it's Madame Rootabega.
Hey, madam, my wife, Benita, found your sister.
I know, I heard about that. It's some kind of a crab feed.
I heard it was a pancake breakfast.
I heard it was at a fish fry.
In any case, she met her. That's great. I hope I get to meet my sister, Madame Rhubarb, someday. Ooh,
Well, that's good, because you guys have been separated for a long time. That's great. Hey, Valentino, look, it's a disgruntled fiddle player.
Hello, disgruntled fiddle player Day. I hear that you also want a Republican to be in the White House Day. Yeah, but I'm hoping for Rand Cruiser.
That'd be Rand Paul and Ted Cruz together. Rand Cruiser is what he calls it. The president-vice president combo. And that's pretty much the end of the show. I'm not going to let you guys go into a political discussion right now. I know it's Sunday and all the Sunday morning talk shows, that's all they do. So why don't you guys go get a beer or something and eat some delicious peanuts.
That sounds like a great idea, Mike. Come on, disgruntled fiddle player, let's go Day. All right, I got nothing better to do. Bonita's doing something to her hair that I don't understand and it smells bad.
Okay, well, next show, after my trip to Daytona Beach, I'm going to be back with a very cool band called Wartime Blues. They're from Missoula, Montana. And we'll talk to them on the segment Into an Interview. Plus, we're going to hear from Shelley Shuhart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. And I am sure more craziness with the characters here at Cafe Anyway will ensue.
Mike, you know what people should do?
What, Bison Bentley?
They should go back and listen to all the past podcasts at MikeStillyPodcast.com. Do you know that?
That's true. Actually, with more information about that, we have Ariel, whose father, Bob, just retired from being a fireman. Congratulations, Bob.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at Mike'sDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!